I hear that you'll find
out.
out, and I guess because I got my ass kicked enough that you'll find out. To me, sounds like, oh, you're gonna find out.
Yeah, that happened to my brother with a different negative story. So he was.
Y yo no juego de parar. Yo no juego con bandoleros. Porque yo sé que voy a ganar. Yo sé que voy a ganar. A la acción mía voy a pichar. Y yo no voy por parar. Yo no juego con bandoleros. Porque yo sé que voy a ganar. Yo sé que voy a ganar.
What's going on, sweet cheeks? How you doing?
Ain't nothing but a kiss. How you
I'm feeling good,
doing?
brother. Ain't nothing but a kiss. That is the latest
oh,
slang I've ever heard you say.
oh, oh,
Oh,
butterscotch booty
oh,
hole.
hello. Hey, yo. What is going on, everybody? Thank you for tuning in for another great episode here at The Rated F with your boys here, Felix and Robbie. It is a beautiful,
Sir.
beautiful week for all of you who love football. This is football week, start of it. Actually, this week that we're recording it was the beginning of football. By the time this drops, it'll
Yeah.
be week 2.
Mm.
I know I know we've had some questions on social media. I think it was on Facebook. We had a question pop up just asking like, oh, how do you guys, your teams fare? And I don't know if you know this, Robbie, but the Giants, the New York Football
Mm.
Giants, um, got their ass kicked on Sunday.
Sounds like a real New York team
Well,
kind
it
of thing to
was so
do.
bad. They broke records. They actually,
Man, well, good for them.
yeah.
Breaking
I don't know how
records
you
in
find a
the
good thing
negative
in this, but
direction.
they lost the game 40-0. Yeah, it was bad. It was
Damn.
a pretty bad game. I am on fantasy football, and thank God I have no Giants on my team because they did nothing.
Yeah, yeah, it's funny. You lose 40-0, and then you drive in your
Oh
Bentley
yeah.
to your mansion. If you had a shit day at work, doing a 9 to 5, that you would get
Oh
pulled in the
yeah.
office.
They just sit me down and give me a write up or something.
Yeah, you know what? I bet no one got pulled in the office. It's just like, okay, hit the shower. It's just another day in New York.
Well, it can't be another day in New York because the next day was 9/11, which again we were honoring those who all of our people who've passed on 9/11. But the Jets also played on 9/11, and they won their game.
Oh wow,
So they beat
really?
the
Who did
Buffalo
they beat?
Bills, who are pretty much projected to be the next. They keep saying Super Bowl contenders because they're actually like really this good. Their
Wow,
quarterback is normally
wow.
the quarterback is Josh Allen, who's a really good quarterback,
Hmm.
and he has a great
Hmm.
offense around him, but he makes a lot of mental errors, which causes a lot of errors on the field. And he threw 3 interceptions, all to the same guy, and he fumbled the ball. So I think he has that's been his like
Really,
major
really.
issue and why they haven't won a Super Bowl since he's been there, because
Hmm.
they've been pretty close. I think one year they came within pretty much 2 minutes or like 30 seconds of going to the
Okay.
Super Bowl, and the
Yeah.
defense choked it on that one.
Hmm.
Um, but he made some mistakes to help like their defense like fail because he's put them in just inopportune spots. So I mean, the fact that the Jets
Yeah.
were able to beat them was great. Definitely was. It's a step in the right direction for a team who went. I think we were what 7-3. No, 7-10 last year. And we missed the playoff by
Wow.
like 2, 3 games. But this year it looks better. We had a good quarterback. We traded for Aaron Rodgers is joined the Jets. I thought that was going to be amazing.
Oh, look
If
at
anyone
that.
doesn't know Aaron Rodgers is, he's probably maybe not considered the GOAT, but one of the GOATs in the quarterback position. Um, Tore his Achilles
Okay.
tendon on the 4th play as a New York Jet. And when I say it was the most New York Jet thing that could fucking happen.
That's what I was gonna say.
Holy
Another day in
shit,
New
bro. I
York.
don't know who cursed us, what voodoo the owner of the Jets like has gotten put on him, but Jesus Christ, it was just like he got hit
Hey,
by a grown ass man. This was a grown ass man who hit him. But when how he went down, I didn't think looked so bad until they did a replay and a slow mo of that replay where you can literally see his
right.
calf pop. And when you see the slow mo and you see his calf kind of like do that, everyone, even I'm not a doctor, and I said, "Oh yeah, he tore his Achilles."
It's like, yeah, that looked like it hurt
Yeah,
Bobby Boucher.
and I gotta
Like,
give it to him.
oh,
It was pretty, almost a gangster move, almost very similar to what Kobe Bryant did. He stood up, he took a step, but then realized like he took the step, it was like, okay, this hurt, and then I guess the trainers were flagging him like, just stop, and he's like sat down. Yeah,
please,
he
just
sat down on the
no.
ground and just fell back, and I was like, oh yeah, he tore it.
Like the pain is setting in. Like,
Yeah, I
adrenaline's
think
gone, pain
originally
is
he
setting
was
in.
pissed off
Oh,
about how he got hit, and then I think he felt it and said, I can fight through it," and then went, "No, I can't. There's no way I can do it."
so torn Achilles tendon
Yeah, he's done for
means
the
going
year.
for the
They said
season.
that he's gonna go to surgery. Now he is 39 years old, so they're saying that it's a possibility he may retire depending on how the rehab goes for him. A few doctors that were on a few other podcasts and shows who were talking about it said that it's a huge possibility he'll come back still because the way he treats his body, the way he, as far as his health, his nutrients he puts in his body, he is a little bit more of a
Right.
holistic route, but he does, obviously some of Western medicine with it, and um, they say that he has a huge possibility that he will definitely attempt and possibly should still be able to play next year, even with the Achilles being torn this year. So obviously, prayers to him, and hopefully he gets well very soon. As a Jet fan and just as a fan of football, he was always Aaron Rodgers is one of my favorite quarterbacks of this maybe last 10 to 20 years. I think has been one of my favorite quarterbacks to see. Um, because I mean,
Oh,
mobile, could throw the ball, was clutch when you needed him. So when he became a Jet, I was just excited to see that. But obviously,
mm. You saw it
yeah,
for
4
about
plays. It
4 days.
literally, I think he was 5 minutes into being a New York Jet officially
Oh, wow.
when he got hurt. And it was just like great. It was like the most New York Jet thing that could happen. And I couldn't even get
Mm-hmm.
like audibly mad. But yeah, so but that was how my weekend went. And with football going on, I know a few of the guys who watch us who are big football fans. Drop your comments of what you felt like the first week of football went. Obviously, the second week of football will be coming through when um everything is gonna get posted.
That's
And also for those of you
that's
who are
good.
checking in now, somebody's told us about it, and you're liking what you're hearing so far. Make sure you go ahead and like and subscribe to this channel, and also make sure you follow us on our other social medias. X, I hate saying X. I want to just say Twitter. X sounds like we're on like Pornhub or something like that.
I never mentioned my ex, and I don't know why we're doing it
Because
now.
this X is
So
a different type of X.
she died,
Oh
and we're
wow.
gonna keep her dead. So
um
hey,
Also,
it's
for our
work.
audio listeners, if you love the cool, sexy voices of your boys and you love what you're hearing, make sure if you haven't already done so, give us a 5-star rating, preferably a 5-star rating. If you give us any other ratings, again, we understand, but just let us
Yes.
know what's going on, what you feel about it. Talk to us. And there's a lot of questions we post throughout every episode on the audio for you guys to kind of interact with us. We have posted our email on the social medias too, so if you want to send us a message on the
Yes.
emails and other things you guys want to talk about, obviously we're very open and we will definitely even shout you guys out if you guys obviously want us to bring it up.
Good stuff.
So
Yeah,
I want to start this up like we did last week, and I had an Instagram question.
that
um it was actually a
was
pretty
fun.
fun question that we dropped. and we did get a couple good responses. I'm going to mention two of them. So the question that we dropped on Instagram and Facebook and all that was, what is the most inspirational message you were given by somebody? And off rip, that question, the answer we get, a hoe never gets cold. It's a quote from Cardi B.
A hoe
Oh
never
my
gets
god.
cold.
It
What?
was the funniest thing. It was like the question got posted maybe 20, 30 minutes after it got posted. I got a bing. I checked it up. I saw that. Laughed hysterically. The next response we got was live aloha as much as you can, and aloha will come back to you. Um, yeah, that was actually really I
Okay.
really liked that. Very deep.
Mm.
I
Yeah.
love all those like deep quotes and deep
That's fun.
messages. Obviously, an inspirational quote that I've always gotten, and I've held it true to the day. I probably hold it true to the day I die. Was that a man only has his word and his balls. You don't break those for nobody.
Well, of course. Of course.
I was like, I like that. My grandfather actually gave me that message. And actually, you know, it's funny that because he's always told me that, it was something that we always grew up. He told me and my brothers those messages is like, if you're gonna say something, do it. If you say, hey, I'm gonna give you my word, hey, you know, I'm gonna get this done, you go ahead and get it done.
Mm.
Even if it's late, at least you got it done. The whole idea is that if you say you're gonna do it, you do it. Um,
Right. Okay. That's cool. What?
I thought you got you. I thought you had like the ring over
Something
there going
moving
on.
behind me.
I was hearing.
I've watched enough horror movies to
I
conjure
wouldn't be
something in this
surprised you have
apartment,
something
but
moving around.
like not during the recording. Just not during the
I
recording,
told
damn it.
you.
Like, wait a minute, wait your turn, motherfucker.
Rob, do you have an inspirational quote that someone told you?
Yeah, wait your turn, motherfucker. I'm just kidding. That's not it. No.
Wait your turn, motherfucker. I told your ass.
I'm, I'm tired of these damn snakes on this motherfucking plane.
That's a very inspirational quote on.
No, I'd say the best quote from my is from my dad, and it's very simple, and it's generalized in a sense. It's simply just you
Oh,
will
you will
find
find
out.
out.
It doesn't matter. You will find out. It's a hand me down too. It's almost an heirloom because it came from his mom, and his great grandmother gave it to his, and he gave it to me and my
Oh
brother for
God.
separate reasons because I remember one conversation he was telling me. I was fed up with this girl I was dating at the time, and she never had any money. She never wanted to do this. She never wanted to do that. You know, always wanted to go everywhere, but didn't
Oh, you
have the
love
money to
that.
go anywhere. So I'd end up paying everything. And my dad was like, "You'll find out one day. You're gonna have a girl that's going to pay for the movie tickets and the dinner." And the this and the that, and you want to go to a concert? She'll be like,
Oh,
"Hey, I bought the tickets. Don't worry, just take the day off." Dun da da. He was like, "You'll find out." And I had posed it 100%. I was like, "No, I'm done with these women." Da 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 yada yada yada. I was like
1920.
teens, like very very early, like 2021 ish. And I was just like, "Nah, I'm just done with it. I can't stand these women. I'm just gonna focus on me. And when I get my career, then I'll start looking." He was like, "You'll find out." And I married the woman that he was talking
Oh
about
yeah,
the entire time
to the letter.
because it's like she was surprised to be like, "Oh yeah, the Dr. Phillips thing, like I told you in January, where they're doing the symphony orchestra while they're playing the Lord of the
Oh
Rings Fellowship of the
yeah.
Ring, and it's a live play of the score, the orchestra from it." And she was like, "Oh, that sounds cool. What seats do you want?" I was like, "Oh, you'll find out." It just sticks in my head. It's just my dad's alive and he's probably, but it's just like I know when like the day he passes, I can't. fathom how that's going to be. But that is a quote that's going to stick in my mind anytime something goes awry in a different direction of how I was thinking. Like,
You
you'll
know what's
find
funny?
out.
I
You
hear
will
that you'll
find
find out,
out.
and I guess because I got my ass kicked enough that you'll find out to me sounds like, oh, you're gonna find out.
Yeah, that happened to my brother with a different negative story. So he was he, def- he definitely was not the favorite. I was. So it had different meanings for different
It's a very
people.
versatile quote.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm gonna hand it down to my dogs. So because I don't want children, they'll be like, "Oh yeah, you want to fuck up? You'll
And
find
honestly
out."
speaking, your dad created
And
the
it's like,
clean
"Oh,
version of fuck around and find out.
you fuck around and find out." Yeah, he's a very educated man. Owned his own school. He was the principal, and then he got tired of that. He went to teach college kids and students, and then he got tired of that, and he retired. And now he just teaches the family what we're gonna find out.
He's
Yeah.
a wizard apparently because he knew about your wedding coming up.
Yeah, he was like, "You'll find out. It's fine." But same thing. Now that you mentioned that, he said that too, because I remember when we had the wedding. It was like the week before the wedding, and he pulled me aside. And he's like, "Okay, look, I'm not gonna get drunk at your wedding." I said, "Oh, well, you bought the bar. Like, you literally paid for the alcohol and the bar." And he was like, "No, no, no, no. I'm gonna get
That's right.
toxic
You
at
know
your
what?
wedding." And I was like, "Toxic? What the hell does that mean?" He was like, "You'll find out."
That's a very
Let
versatile
me
quote.
let me know in the comments if anybody is an 80 to 81-year-old man on a hangover the day after your wedding. Let me know if you remember how that looks. It's the funniest shit I've ever. My brother was freaking. He's like, "I think something's wrong with Dad. Someone's gonna die." I was like, "It's the day after my wedding, right? What the fuck? No, you handle it." Like, at the time, he was like 37 years old. I was like,
Yeah,
"That's your
you deal with it
problem
today. I dealt with him
today."
all day yesterday, and he was toxic for me.
I kept him standing. You could keep him from falling. Go ahead.
God,
Jesus.
toxic drunk. That's a whole new
Like,
level of drunk. I've been skunk drunk. I've been blackout drunk. I have never been toxic drunk. Like, what level of drunk do you have to be to sit there and be like, I'm at that level where it's just toxic?
toxic. Because when you mix medications with liquor, because you're 80, you forget. Blood pressure medication and alcohol consumption don't mix. And I gave him some water with some lime and lemon. I said, "Here, drink this." He's like, he wasn't speaking. He was
It was
moaning, pretty much.
Frankenstein.
Like you mentioned the grudge and the wind from earlier. And it was just like, "Here, just drink this." And he drank the whole cup, and then he popped up like if he had a surge of adrenaline and went and vomited exorcist
Oh
style
shit!
all over the bathroom. He didn't even use the sink. He used the tub.
He just used the room.
That's how much vomit he had. Like a sprinkler, like a broken pipe. Just
I just see the
I was like, "Yep." My brother was like, "Oh my god, what's going on?" I was like, "No, no, 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 no. Save your minutes on your phone. just watch and enjoy." After like 3 minutes, he's like, "I feel good." I was like, "Yeah, drink a beer and come outside."
God, you know what's funny?
Exactly
As I
what he
remember
did,
your dad
and
at the wedding, and I remember seeing him. I thought he was buzzed at first. Like, okay, maybe he got a nice little buzz, but I don't know. In the time span of the last time I saw him to when I went outside and then came back into the wedding, I remember seeing him like sloshed, and I said, "Ooh, he's messed up. Like he got it."
well, it's funny that you say buzz because he was
Oh
drinking before
God.
he got to the wedding. He was like happy drinking, kind of like how we were. Be like, "Oh yeah, let's take a few drinks before we get ready. What can go wrong?"
What honestly can ever go wrong?
Yeah, Robbie, take your vertigo medication, even though you just got you're now recuperating for it. Take a couple pills. Take this drink. What could go wrong on your wedding day?
Jeez, you did
At
it.
least I didn't go missing.
At least you
That's
didn't rip your
what,
pants.
that's what. Yes. Shout out to Quincy. No, shout out to Quincy for going
Full
full
throttle.
throttle
The
in the
man, I
win.
didn't think he broke the throttle. He was going beyond full throttle. He was Super Saiyan throttle. He was Super Saiyan God throttle. The man was on a whole nother level. He hit Ultra Instinct.
There was the one time that anyone could rip their pants and still dance on my wife at the girlfriend turned to wife at the time, and
Oh
I was
my
happy.
god. I think that night, I think we all danced on both
Good.
you and your wife,
Have a great
but
time.
he was the only one that hit the drop, and the pants went with it.
He hit the drop, hit his head, and then his pants ripped in half. And when I tell you guys he ripped in half, think SpongeBob from
Yes,
seam to seam, from front to back, all the way. His pants ripped in
you would
half.
have
He
sworn he
had
took
two
a
chaps.
a,
He
a
pretty much
sword,
had
just cut him right in the middle. It was a good
Craziness,
wedding. It
man.
was a really
That
good
was a
wedding though.
fun
We
time.
had so much fun.
Yeah, yours too. Yours was fucking awesome.
Mine felt like I was definitely like in a like desolate island. I took us all the way to Fantasy Island for a weekend.
Yeah, we got to do
Yeah,
that
we're
again,
looking
man.
into possibly going over there again. Me and Anissa talked about maybe not this year, but
Count
possibly
us up.
going next
Mm.
year to back to
All
Destin
right.
because Destin's beautiful. It's just gorgeous out there.
It's beautiful. That's where we had our honeymoon. It was Destin, Florida, and Pensacola because we were kind of forced to do it during the
Yeah, because you
pandemic
guys like got married and then
era.
next
So we
month
were
the
just
world shut down.
next month, a week later.
Yeah, it was about a week and a half. It was a week and a half
I
because
remember that shit. It was like early March, bro. It wasn't even in the teens and shit
yeah,
started
because it
shutting
was
down.
Anissa's birthday was like the following, not like the next week after your wedding, but like the following week. And I
Hmm.
took her to downtown, and she got drunk that night. And then like 2 days later,
Good.
I went to work,
Yeah.
and they were like, "Well, heads up, like the world shut down," and we were
Yeah.
just
We were trying
yeah,
to
we were
figure
like,
out
"Oh, we
what's
were all
going
like, what the hell happened?"
on. That's an interesting Instagram question that we have there. So next time the world goes to
Yo,
shit,
yeah,
you'll
you'll
find out.
find out.
Remember those words. I'm gonna pass it to y'all since I have no
Oh,
children. I don't got time for that shit. So I'm gonna pass it to y'all. You guys, the rated F audience, you are my
you'll
children.
find out.
You'll find out.
Oh man.
What else we
Well,
got?
I know you were telling me you had some rated F news. I wanted to hear what you got. What you sizzling?
Oh, yeah. So Mr. Khan, not from AEW, but Mr. Khan, Nick Khan
Oh yeah.
from WWE. Yeah, he's the head of some shit. Who cares? But anyway, he's in charge. He's in charge. Whatever. And he had some comments when it came to a rumor of Mr. CM Punk coming
Oh, I
to
didn't
the
know. I didn't hear
WWE.
this.
I'm gonna read it, and this is one of my favorites when it comes to wrestling news from Wrestle Talk over across the pond, and it goes, quote, "Listen, we only have respect for Phil, as in CM Punk. We appreciate his run that he had here, and we appreciate all that he did, especially in the UFC. Not many people can actually get in there and do what he did, and we have respect for him. When it comes to his future, we wish him nothing but the
Oh,
best. If you have no intentions of bringing somebody on, that is the most professional way
that
of
was the most
saying.
professional way of saying "fuck off." You're not coming here.
Because honestly, I would, I wouldn't see what
I
they
don't
would
see it
do
either.
with him. Because look at what they did with Cody Rhodes. They made this big spectacle of Cody Rhodes, and he came, and then that was at WrestleMania, and then the following WrestleMania was supposed to be him versus Roman Reigns, and he was going to get the title and finish the story, and he still
Yeah,
hasn't finished his
it's a
novel.
long ass novel.
He's like George R. R. Martin around here. I'm like, yo, when is the song Ice and Fire coming out? Like, can you hurry the fuck up? It's been like 10 years. It's the story's not going to finish, and they made
No, I
that
think the story is
abundantly
definitely he's
clear.
definitely
It's
going
like,
to win the
look,
title. I think they're the issue is it's not
okay,
if he's winning it, it's when is he going to get it. And I think they're waiting on Roman
right,
because he was promised this long run that he's gotten. I think they're going to try to get him as close um to Bruno's record. I don't know if he'll break it. I doubt he'll break it because Bruno.
Bruno had
Yeah, I
it
was
for
gonna say.
like
I know he
eight
was.
years.
It,
That
I
would
think
be
he's if he
ridiculous.
hasn't already beaten, I think he's gonna beat Hogan's record, and then I think they're going to let him drop it. In my opinion,
Hmm. It's always good to beat a racist record and forget about Hulk Hogan. Rest in peace, Pop. I know
I
he's
can see
like,
that.
fuck you.
I'm feeling
Fuck
it in my
you.
head, bro. He's gonna pull my toes tonight because of you. But
Probably pull my toes. He knows where I live.
bro, my dad could never say anything. That man dropped the n word so hard.
I
I've never
know.
seen a hard R get used by an idol that even I looked up to, and I
Yeah.
was just like, I was mortified, bro. I could not believe I heard Hulk Hogan drop that, and then I looked at my dad. I was like, listen, it is what it is. He's a little bit of a racist, like I'm not knocking what he did. Hogan
Can't hide
was the
it.
man back in the day, but
Mm.
from the years 2010 to now,
But me
he's dropped
personally,
the hard R at least twice.
honestly, I don't like. I never really liked Hulk Hogan. He was definitely a buzzkill for me. Every time I saw him, I was like, okay, here goes this guy. But he was like, I can understand why people were very upset with him and using derogatory language. But in my head, like you could see my name, a White Boy Rob. I could really care less about racism and anything like that because I feel it's hypocritical. If a rapper could say it 19 times in his song, and it's okay in a sense, and a white guy who's a wrestling icon says it once and he's getting his career destroyed, that's
Well, I
bullshit to
also
me.
think
I mean, leave your comments in the ads, but I don't think anyway. If you're going to say that it's derogatory,
well, and I
everybody should
agree.
suffer the
I've
same
always said like
consequences.
if you're going
From it doesn't matter how dark you are. You could be the darkest dude on the planet, and you could be the whitest dude on the planet. Ain't nobody saying it. But if somebody is okay for saying it because they're making an album, but it's not okay for this white dude to say it, then I could care
yeah,
less about how you feel.
yeah.
Not you particularly, but like anybody who has a problem
I
with the
think
N
that's
word.
the issue is that
So
the N word was so heavily used by a white guy or white families in a derogatory term that specific term. And I don't think it
right.
was the fact that he said like it wasn't the fact that he said the word. It was the version of the word he said. Saying it with the ER
Yeah,
versus saying it
I can understand that.
with the A at the end changes it.
Yeah,
So I
I've
think
heard that
that's the
before
issue.
too. To me, I've seen some horseshit like Bill Maher from
Yeah,
HBO
Bill Mayer.
with
I think
Bill
is it
with
Bill Maher or Bill Mayer?
yeah, Bill Maher, Bill Maher, who cares? But tomato tomato. But with his late night show that he has there on HBO
Yeah,
and
real
Real
time.
Time,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
believe
yeah,
it's
yeah, I
called,
remember. He's had that show
and
forever.
he usually does these opening monologues, and one he made a really good point of what he was saying, and then he used the N word. And we're trying to up and come. We don't even have 100 subscribers, so I'm not going to use it. But like when I'll use it when we're big and we're tired of this stuff. I'll shut it down for us. It's
This
fine.
one word,
I got
bam.
you. I got you. I know exactly what to say. Okay? I wonder when Robbie's going to say it. You'll find out. but but yeah. So he made a point of what he was saying, but he ended up using the N word. And I think it was the next show. Ice Cube was on his show chastising him. He brought him onto the show, but he was chastising him about the use of the N word. I was like, if there's one person in this world who has nothing to say about that, is the one from the NWA.
Where the whole name was based off that.
Like what? Yeah, I was like, get out of here, dude. It's the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life. And I was like, just because of the color is his skin, he's getting ridiculed on his own show. He kind of did it to himself because he
Facts.
invited the dude. But here's another dude, 100% full spectrum when it comes to how, like, opposite spectrum when it comes to how he acts, what he's done for a living, the color of his skin, and he's like ridiculing him. I was like, oh, you can ridicule you too. Like, you made a living off of the
100%.
word. Like, get out of here. Like, it's crazy. I don't know. Across the board, I don't care if it's ERA. You can put whatever vowel you want on the end of it. It ain't. It ain't. If it ain't supposed, it's not supposed to be used, or everyone can use it, regardless of the history, because that means that black people should know better because of the history of the word. So why should white people be on their toes when black people get a
It's
get out
true.
of jail free
It
card?
is true.
Nah, fuck that. Nah, excuse my language.
I see what you're saying though. Within that aspect, is like if it's not
Yeah,
okay for one person to use it, or a set of people to use it, then nobody should be able to use it. Because even as a Hispanic man, I know I've had people,
everybody.
I've had some people say, "Oh well, you can't say the word either," and then I've had other people say, "No, you can say the word." Like it just depends.
I love it. I love it when I'm having a conversation and somebody says I can't say something. I just say it again with
With
more
more
enthusiasm.
emphasis now.
You can't say you can't say that. It's offensive. I'm glad you're offended. That like
Ah.
with even more gusto. Just, yes, I want you to feel it in your bone marrow. Fuck away from me. Like, get away from me. And that goes for all comers. It could be my wife, your wife, you. I'm talking to myself. It doesn't matter. If you're offended, I will continue
Oh
to offend
man,
you. It's going to happen. That's just how I am. I love people being offended because we live in a first world country. It's the greatest country in the world. What are you offended about?
that's the issue
Words?
this day, man. This I think there was a
Go drink mud water. Or like,
I was
oh,
watching something
come on.
recently, and they were talking about
You
the
got better
fact that
fish to fry.
some like the use of the of words has so much more power than it did back in the day. Like the terms,
Because
yeah, and the words like I remember there used to be like sticks and stones may break your bones, but words will never hurt me. You know that phrase used to be like Bible. I used to sit there and I was called everything under the book from fat to I mean obese to they were called me rhino, they called me elephant. They were kids were relentless when I was a kid, bro.
I thought you were gonna say these kids today are relentless. I'm like, when did this happen? Like 2 days ago?
No, yeah, no. These kids these days ain't got
These little,
nothing. These kids are so soft. They're marshmallows, bro. It's
yeah, this
I get
baby
like
shit
there
nowadays.
are some instances where you probably want to protect your kid or you want to show them like hey you don't say that because realistically they shouldn't attack, but understand that every so
All
often
right.
there is gonna be that one little demon spawn that just has to clap at everybody and guess what? Clap back.
Yeah.
I'm a firm believer in fuck around and
Yeah.
find. You'll find out.
You find out?
It
See, it
resonates.
resonates.
And if you want to mess around, guess what? You will find out.
You will find out. I believe that the bullies should be bullied just as hard as they have dished it out. And sometimes the principal and the deans and the teachers, they only reprimand what they see, not the full story. And I can understand it. If you didn't see it, it didn't happen, kind of thing. But it has to be equal across the board. If finally the person who's been bullied has retaliated, you got to say, well, what led to this? Okay, that bully, he deserved what came to him. He needs some harder stuff. You can't just
Yeah,
be
I hate when
blind
I
about
see
it.
like the kid has done the right
And
thing. I
parents are
hate when I see the
so
kids done the right thing and said, "Hey, like
yeah,
Mister, Miss, I'm getting attacked. Like this kid keeps bothering me," and they're like, "Well,
yeah,
you guys have to use your words. Get along." And the kid tries to get along, goes back. I'm getting bullied by this kid. Like he's calling me this X, Y, and Z, and then they don't believe the kid. So finally, it's like,
yeah.
listen, I've tried talking to an adult. Guess what? Fuck around and find out, and they're gonna throw some hands,
That's how
hundred
school
percent,
shootings happen.
because they don't listen.
That's not a joke. Like I joke a lot. Yeah, I joke a lot. That is not a joke. When you ignore and you don't help the people who need help, they turn to the one thing that they know could solve the problem. And if the bullies are bigger, or if the bullies are smarter, or they are just tired of being bullied, they're going to turn to whatever weapon or whatever solution, no matter how drastic it is, that's going to solve the problem. And you see a
Yeah,
lot
and
of that today. School shooting. I see people who do school shooting with
that's
arrows.
new.
Like, I've seen stabbings. Yeah, dude, they made a movie off of that. It was like, it's kind of like based on it, but it's called We Have to Talk to Kevin. Oh, we have to talk about
Is it on
Kevin.
Netflix?
I believe is the name of the movie. I think it was. I found it on Tubi, but the guy who plays the Flash is the main character, who's Kevin.
You talking about Ezra Miller, or you talking
And
about Grant from
till
CW?
yeah, no,
Okay, okay.
no, Ezra Miller, and the lady, I think her name is Tilda something. She has a very weird name, and I can't remember, Tilda Swine or something like that. I can't remember her friggin' name. And then you remember the
Yes.
movie Step Brothers with Will Ferrell and the other guy, not Will Ferrell, the other guy. I
Oh,
can't remember
yeah, I
his
know
name
you're talking
either.
about John C. Riley.
Yeah, but they made a movie based. Yeah, yes, that, and they made a movie about a school shooting where a dude locked kids in the gymnasium, and he was mastered. Is the way, like, the only way I can think of how to put it. He was very good at
Oh,
archery because he had trained since he was like a kid, and now he's in high school, and he would like win contests and this and the other. So he just had enough of life, and he had enough of them. And he didn't kill himself, but he ended up going to jail for it. But he waited until it was like a gym period where people who were bullying him like were in, and he locked them in and just
oh,
started picking them off
wow.
one by one with arrows. Yeah, they had nowhere to go because he did like these like industrial padlocks on the doors from the outside, so they couldn't get out. The movie, it's sad, and it is also fantastic to see the build up to him actually doing it. You're like, there were so many warning signs, and the parents just kind of, they had fights, they got divorced, they had this, they had that. There's just complete blindness, and then they show how the family has to move and cope after your child has done something like this in the community, and they can't find a job, and they can't go anywhere without being yelled at or spit at, or people are breaking their
Wow.
car windows and spray painting on their houses. Yeah, mortgage companies are like revoking their mortgage, kind of shit. Like, it's weird stuff that's going on. I'm not sure if that last one was, but in the movie it was like that. I'm not sure if it's something that happens, but in the movie it was just like anything that could go wrong in your life just goes like
Wow.
straight down bottom, and it's because things, yeah, it's like situations that could be prevented were overlooked. Simple. Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
fantastic
man.
movie.
That
Check it out.
definitely be something. What's the name of that one?
I think it's We Need to Talk to Kevin, or We Need to Talk About Kevin.
We need to talk about Kevin. So okay, so it's the same movie.
Yeah.
Okay, because I just found it. It's
Yes.
with Tilda Swinton, John C. Riley, and Ezra Miller.
Yes. There you go. Yeah.
Okay,
Fantastic movie.
that's something I would have to definitely check out then.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, dude. I'm just rambling, Robbie.
well, actually, I did have a rated F news too. So, like I had mentioned early,
Yeah, that's what I was alluding to.
I mentioned this earlier about football coming back, and it was a really good weekend. It was a really big weekend with a lot of high scoring things that happened. But the most interesting thing that happened this weekend was AI robots were fans in SoFi Stadium, which is the Charger Stadium in Los Angeles. They had AI robots as fans. It was apparently a part of a movie called The Creator. So it was it's kind of creepy because apparently it's going to be like a horror movie or a suspense movie, I think. They haven't really released too much.
A thriller.
And these are AI beings, and they look just like people. It looks like ever seen the movie AI with Jude Law and what's that kid from Sixth Sense?
Oh yeah, yeah.
But you know who
I
I'm
can't
talking about
remember
though.
the name. Yeah, he actually made a cameo appearance in
Yeah,
and
yeah,
What
he's
We Do
heavy
in the
now.
Shadows.
He's like
Freaking
older and
hilarious.
heavy.
He's fat.
Yeah.
He's like a frat dude. He's so
So
weird.
they did a movie
Anyway,
called AI, and a lot of the robots that are in the movie, and it was just artificial intelligence that pretty much took over a majority of the world. There are humans out there, but they're kind of like outcasted. AI does kind of like their own thing. It
right,
was a great movie in its
right,
time. But some of the AIs have like majority of their head, and then like here you see kind of like Robotnik. So it's like some skin over like a robot. And the
right.
AI fans that were out there, first off, looked just like humans. So like they were admiring the stadium. You could see them like looking around, walking. I think a few of the pictures that I saw, they actually had them like holding drinks or in jerseys, cheering. And it was supposed to be a part of a movie project that they got going on called The Creator. Um, I'm
Mm.
really, it's really scary on what that looks like because they look real, bro. I'm looking at the picture right now on my phone. It looks real. Like
Oh wow.
aside of like the ears where it's a robot, if they were to cover that, that would look like a human being, and I would have never known. It's scary,
What? That's cool.
but
You gotta send that to me. You should put
yeah,
that up, man.
I'll go ahead. I'll have it on the screen. I'll have it on
That's
screens for
great.
everyone to see.
Yeah. Or link it in the description of the
Yeah,
little crap.
but it's just so spooky to see like all this, and it was like it was mainly in SoFi Stadium because I guess that's where they're filming the movie. Um, so you're definitely gonna
Mm,
see. I want to see what they're gonna do with that movie. So I guess look out for the trailer cuts when it comes out, called The Creator.
right. That's a
Yeah,
little freaky. It's like they have no hair, so you could tell like something's a little off. But
yeah, like some of the ones,
huh,
like the women that they had on there
interesting.
didn't have hair, so it's just like a bald head. Um, but it had like the robot
Yeah.
ears. But then you can see it's like women features, and the same thing goes for the guys. Like you see the guys, they were all like
Hmm.
bald, like me. And then they
Hmm.
just were walking around. You could see like it looked like it was admiring like the scenery.
I like it. I like the way that it goes. I like technology. We gotta
No, I don't want more, man.
more.
Not when they're gonna make it like this.
To
It looks like it's gonna legit
the
be like
point.
um what's that Will Smith movie? I Robot.
Oh, I Robot.
Yeah, it's gonna be just like that. We don't need that. No,
I
I said I
Robot, not
Robot.
I. Yeah. Oh, okay. I said I
Yeah,
am Robot. I was like, no,
yeah,
that's a
I Am
different way.
Legend.
I
Yeah,
am Legend
you
and I
combined it.
Robot.
That would probably be a good movie.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, that's a different one. Yeah, with you took with the apocalypse is by the AI robots. You should combine his movies since his wife
Oh
can't win
God,
him an Oscar. Yeah.
remember keep your name out your
He could
keep
be
your name
one
out
of
of
the
food.
AI since she's already old. Yeah, come try to slap me,
Oh
motherfucker.
man,
I slap with bullets.
they're my friends.
You got your damn mouth. I'd be damned if anybody tried to slap me.
All right,
Crazy.
so
Oh my god.
anyway, I did want to
Anyway.
kind of get into a huge topic about inspiration. I think inspiration is really big for, I mean, just in general, like life. And the reason why the Instagram question was about
Okay.
inspiration and inspirational quotes is that sometimes it's good
Mm,
to, I like to figure out what inspiration means for other people, and what inspires them to do certain things, whether it be art or whether it be,
mm,
um, just like sports, podcast, even like what inspires them to kind of go to do the next thing. Sometimes just what inspires you to work to do your job. Some people have other
right.
inspirations, money being some of it. But outside of money, like what else
Mm,
inspires you to do certain things? Um, and I'll
okay.
start actually. I want to jump into this one because kind of like what inspiration works with me.
Yeah,
Inspiration is for me is very very um it's interesting because I look at inspiration could be music some days. Some days I'm just working out and I hear music and it just inspires me to kind of like go harder, or it's pushing me, it's motivating me to be better. Because I love lyrics. Lyrics is
Right.
what kind of, if it's just beat, like I listen to EDM and I listen to like, certain rock musics. But if you give me a good rap song that has some lyrics behind it, like really good meanings behind it, you're gonna see me like I'll be bumping that day. And that day I'm working and I'm moving or I'm doing stuff for the podcast and I'm just like on the go. And it's like everything is just hitting its motions.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I
yeah.
think that's what's been
Yeah.
kind of motivating me and inspiring me a lot, especially like with the podcast and stuff. It's just like knowing like there's like a rhythm to it, there's a beat to it, and I'm like I'm on a good path. Even like thinking about like what we're doing as as a duo, that's been inspiring me because every
Mm.
time I see that you finding something to do for the podcast, I'm like, well, man, and if he's doing that, then I got to do something better, or if he's doing this, then I have to be funnier.
Right.
Or even like my wife, every time I see, I think
Right.
right now what's been inspiring me the most, outside of like listening to just like music, but I think inspiration that's been hitting
Yeah.
me is just the seeing like my circle doing better.
Yeah. That's definitely I would. That's something I was thinking about too. Like the four of us, every time one of us succeed, it makes the other three
Yeah,
want to succeed. And then we see, whoa, Juvie got a better job. Felix got a better job. Robbie got a better position. Oh, now Monty got a raise. Okay, well, now Felix got a raise. Oh, shit, now Robbie got a raise. Oh, now Juve wants to get a raise. Like, it's always more, more, more. It's because it's not being glutton. It is more
yeah.
being ambitious. And I've heard, speaking of quotes from earlier, but like, I've heard where it's like you got to surround yourself with the people who are going to push you forward, not push you down.
It's true.
You know, and I'm very glad because we've known each other for
Yeah,
some of us decades. I've known you for over 20 years. I've known you for over a decade, and I've known
yeah,
Monty for about half a decade. And it's like that if one of us is doing good, the other one, like the others want to do better, and we all help each other try
yeah.
to
And
do
that's what
better.
I think. That's where the difference of being glutton and
Right.
then being like ambitious is that it's not that we're sitting there saying that, oh, we
Yes.
want more because we need to have more items or more
Hmm.
whatever. It's that we want more because our friends are doing more.
Right.
And there's a huge thing about that I love
Hmm.
is that you reap with what you sow. Your circle, people you hang with, is what pretty much is gonna change what your motives are or what you're trying to do, or your way of
Yeah.
talking, way of being. And I definitely think that our circle has
Right.
definitely has we may not be around each other 24/7 just because of everything going on, but that we're always pushing each other to want to do more, wanting to be on the next level. And sometimes that pulls us a little bit apart, but then it brings us together at the same time. It's sometimes
Ah,
you're gonna
okay.
have to see
Okay.
a little bit of an expanding where we're gonna be at different directions for a little bit, but then it always, I think, good thing about us is
Yeah.
that no matter where we are, we always find our way back to each other, and we're always like within link of each other. And our wives have easily have done the same thing to each other as well, because I feel like I've noticed that even like what we're doing has expanded out to them and wanting to do better in their personal
Yes.
lives. So
Yeah.
I think that
Yeah.
inspires me more to keep doing that, because the more I start noticing I'm doing better, then I start noticing you guys are doing better, and then if you're doing even better than what I'm doing, then I'm like, well, I gotta go, I gotta match that energy. I have to be where he's at, and not even trying to match it because I can't. I'm jealous. I want to match it because I can't be the I can't be the last one there. I need to be right with you guys. I don't want to be in the back. I want to be walking in
Yeah.
front with you guys. And then
Right.
and it's affecting so many other
Awesome.
avenues in our lives. And I've noticed more and more of other people wanting to do the same thing, that like I for instance,
Yeah.
me and my wife have been really working out hard, like maybe not going to the gym and lifting heavy weights, but
Yeah.
we've been working as far as like going on walks, going anywhere from a mile to 2 mile walks, We'll come home, do a nice little exercise. Actually, I went and bought some resistant bands, and we've been using the resistant bands now. It came with a bunch of cables too, so we're using like these like it simulates the weight of like lifting 50 pounds, 60 pounds, 70 pounds. So we're like actually getting all that extra work. And I've had somebody, because of the Apple Watches, you can link up to a bunch of friends, and they're like, man, like I didn't want to get up to work out today, but then I saw that you did a workout, and I was like, I can't sit home now because he's doing it. Then I got to do it.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. I feel you.
I think that's
I
what's
feel you
been
on that.
really pushing me, is that I see other people wanting to do more. So it's like, yeah, okay, if you're wanting to do more, then I'm going to want to do more. Because then
That is true.
I don't know. I just something that I like
That is
that's
true.
really been pushing me and motivating me for what I feel like we can get to is that. What about
Yeah,
you, man? What's your insight? I
I
know
feel that too.
you kind of gave a little bit on with me, but
Um, no, you're fine. But I would say first things first is just a statement. You call it a quote from a nurse, my charge nurse from work. I remember I've worked with him for almost 3 years, and I remember once I was just like, he works like 6 days a week as a nurse
wow,
in dialysis, which is not easy. His hours are like
jeez,
16-hour shifts kind of shit, and he will run it. He will run it, the man. And I remember talking to him, and I was just like, he has so much energy, bro. And I'm like, how do you do it? And he just looked at me, and he's like, Robbie, I'm allergic to being broke.
that's a hell of a quote.
I said, oh. I was like, okay. He was like, when you become allergic to being broke, you can do anything.
That's true.
I said, okay. I was like, that's what's up. That's what's up. Good Christian guy. Love him. He's very, very cool. He does a lot of humanitarian work. Travels to like Colombia. I've seen him travel
Wow.
here, there, just to help people, da da da. As a nurse, not just dialysis, but just, he uses his skills, to help people, like, wow, that's amazing. But also, well, not only that, in the sense of like, okay, that will fuel my life because I personally get embarrassed when I go somewhere and I can't afford something. Not nothing ridiculous, but like you gotta like penny pinch when you go to the grocery store, or you gotta second guess if you want to take your wife out to
Yep.
dinner, or this or that, the other. And you gotta kind of compromise of what you are buying at the time. And you know me, I like shit. So yeah, I like to buy shit sometimes. And I was just like, well, how and what would motivate me and inspire me to then work more? I work 3 days a week. That means I got 3 more days out of the week. And a rest day, if you want to call God's day a rest day, kudos to you, I do. Then that means I have 3 more extra days that I am doing
Yeah.
absolutely fuck all. And then we will say, hey, you're doing a rated F. I was like, if I compile the amount of time that I spend doing on rated F, it's like 3 hours a week. Counting recording, and recordings could last 45 minutes,
Yeah.
30 to an hour. And then our pre and post, call it an hour and a half. And then when it comes to the marketing and this and that and the other, buying stuff, trying to become better, looking at whatever we got to buy, banners and shit, like doing all that funky stuff. It's about 3 hours a week. So I'm like, okay, so that means I got a hell of a lot more time to do a lot more shit. And what's going to make me money so that I will not have to worry about money is my medication when it comes to being allergic to being broke. So how could I
True.
capitalize on that? How could I, pay off debts, this, that, and the other, da da da. I love another thing that inspires me is I love my wife's work ethic. That woman came from nothing with a single income from her dad, who we, funny enough, call him a mopologist because he was a janitor for his entire life. And he says, I have my PhD in mopology. And I was like, all right, cool. Like the most inspirational story I've ever heard, other than my parents, but on I feel like with more weight to it, because he moved his family from Puerto Rico to, I think it was Chicago, and Chicago back to Puerto Rico, had my wife, and then when she was 5, they moved to Florida. Now I heard rumors that they moved to New York, but it was very brief. But regardless, they moved to Florida. He bought a house in Florida. This man he's single income and raised 5
Wow.
children. And his wife babysat, and that's how she made money. But it wasn't any type of amazing, lucrative amount of money. And he worked, and she saw that, and they had to deal with what they had to do with hand-me-downs and cutting corners and do what they had to do and making sure
Yeah.
honest work. None of that, sleazy shit. But it was just like her work ethic comes from her background and seeing her father work his ass off to make sure that his family could eat. So now that we have a family, we're starting ours, and we don't want children. She's like, "Oh, this is cake because I have a job that pays literally 3 times as much as he had, with the no children, less expenses. Inflation is kicking our ass, but
Yeah.
we can do it, and it doesn't matter. She has to be dying to stay home." And I'm like, wow, like I see her like go to work the day before, and that motivates me to go to the work the next day because I wake up a lot earlier than she does. So I don't see her leave; she sees me leave. So I'm like, she went to work yesterday.
Yep.
I could work tomorrow. Yeah, I got a little bit of vertigo. I could lay my head down. It has to be bad for me to be like, no, I can't go. So when I stay home from work and I only work 3 days a week, it was bad. Because I'm sacrificing a third of my hours. And it's just like, shit, but it's like things like that, making my parents proud, which they always tell me that they're proud of me no matter what, and also lastly that inspires me is my nieces and nephews. I like to make my living quarters a zenful area. Not to be all hippie and holistic, but like when you come to my place, there are no rules instead of one rule, and that's do not disrespect me. As simple as that. But anything goes. You want to watch TV until 4 o'clock in the morning? Cool. You want to play video games? Cool. You want to go watch a movie? Let's go. You want to go to the mall? Let's go. You want to go to SeaWorld? We got tickets. You want to go to Universal? We'll find tickets. It's like no matter what, I love to keep my nieces and my nephews happy and see that joy on their face and be like, we had a good time on Robbies. So next time, it'll be like, oh, you want to come down to Robbies and Auntie Ange? Hell yeah, we want to come there. There are places like, I love it. It sounds weird, but I love it when people just crash on my couch. Like they had so much fun that they had to nap. I was like, yeah. I love any family that comes over that does it, but I usually focus on the kids because they're innocent. They're kind of depending on you to do that. So like to be a good host and to make sure they're okay. And my niece is gonna be 18 this year, and I'm like, I'm losing those years where I was able to take her out because she's got boyfriends, she's going picking colleges, worrying about what her career is gonna be like. But then I have my nephews and my nieces who are like 8, 5, 9.
At that age,
12.
It's gonna be like even harder to get a hold of them.
Right, and it's a passing of the torch because my boy Abdiel, he's my nephew. He's 18. He's a soccer star, so he's kicking off his career. My niece, she wants to be a nurse, traveling nurse. So I'm like, you traveling? That means I ain't traveling with you. I'm going to see you very soon. And it's going to be on borrowed time because whenever you come in town, it'll be like, all right, I got to see this person. I got to see that person. I got to visit Uncle Robbie and Auntie Ange. And there's like, it might be like, I'm going to visit them for like 10 minutes and then on to the next. So I'm running out of time with them too. And it's like, all right. It's passing the torch to the smaller kids, but it's also the last days for me when it comes to the bigger kids. And I'm like, boy. Hey, we just had a nephew. He just turned 1, actually. And he was born on
Oh,
my birthday.
wow.
Yeah. So it was just like, whoa, like no, 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 no. He's about to turn one. He didn't just turn one. It was
He
like he
turns
didn't turn one
one.
this year. He's about to like
Yeah.
next year. And I was just like, whoa, like he like to the T. He was born on February the 4th at the exact hour I was born. Like
Oh shit.
for real. I was like, oh shit, it would have been cool if it was like he was born on a Monday just like how I was, kind of thing. Same hour, same this. Like he was literally born. Like if you look at the paperwork, he was born like a few minutes before I was. And I was like, that is so cool. So he's like, it's really cool to see him grow up too. And then I'm like, all right, cool. I could take care of you in a few years. And then, you come over and hang out and da da da, yada, yada, yada. But, and that's usually what inspires me. I try to follow my gut instincts when it comes to money and being uh, successful in whatever the definition of success would be. That's subjective. But also, um, surrounding myself with family, and to that, the family who deserves my presence. Not to sound arrogant, but some of them could kick rocks,
Trust me, I understand that.
And if I don't kick, it's like if you call me and I don't pick up the phone and I don't bother to call you back, chances are I don't like
Fair.
you. So don't erase my number. But sometimes it's just like, okay, I look for different avenues because I'm not a big talker on the phone with people, and I know a lot of people, so I'm just like, okay, I don't really like to talk. I just like to sit in the dark and watch movies.
Gremlin, that's why.
Yeah. So it's just like, yeah. So text me, call me if you ever heard from me in a few weeks, and I'll talk to you back if I like you.
Big if.
Yeah, a real big if. I'd probably text you and be like, hey, I don't like you, lose my number.
New phone, who this?
Yeah, it's the room, unfortunately for honesty in this day and age, has gone very shallow, and I respect when people just straight up tell me they don't like me.
Makes sense.
I'm like, good. So get out of my face and get the fuck out of my face. Like, I ain't gonna waste your time. You ain't gonna waste mine.
Oh man, that's awesome.
What else you got?
Honestly, man, I just want to just kind of dive into it before before we end up. But I wanted to get into: has there been a person or something to inspire your moves positively or negatively? So that's something that you feel, and you don't have to go if you don't want to go into full depth with it, but just like, has there been someone that's that's affected or inspired you in either way?
I would say it's not God, God and Jesus Christ, because they show me a level of positivity and negativity and moves that are on a cosmic level that I cannot even fathom. Sometimes what you dream and what you need to be doing are two totally different things. What your dream job may be and what you're good at are
True.
two totally different things. And that happened to me recently, and I was just like, okay. Like, God gave me a big, I don't give a fuck what your dreams are. I know what you're good at, and that's what you're going to do. Because there's a bigger picture here, and you have no room to be selfish. I need you to do this.
It's crazy
for
that you
me.
say that, because
So,
you start. I think a lot of people they ignore that feeling, that moment. That's almost like an epiphany moment where you're like, oh wow, like I've been fighting this so much, but then all of a sudden, like, you just start having to ride the wave, and instead of fighting the current, go with the current and see what it takes you.
Yeah, a lot of people, especially this generation, unfortunately, they are so concerned with financial freedom that they don't focus on the main thing, which for me is spiritual freedom. Spiritual freedom in the sense of listen to what God is telling you, and He will give you what you want to get. He would literally hand you what you need. I have seen it first. Call me a kook, call me whatever you want, but I, from firsthand experience, I know when I ask for something and I do what He tells me to do, and He points me in that direction, and you can always feel and hear that voice almost like He's talking to you right next to you. and like you feel the path that you're supposed to go on. You feel that it's wrong, so you turn around and then you feel that it's the right thing to do. Okay, and it
Yep.
will come to fruition. It's I've heard people say talk it into existence. No, fuck that. Talk to God. He'll put it into
I
existence.
think it's a little bit of both, though. I think if you talk it to
It's like
existence and you talk, I think it's almost like saying you're talking to God to it, and
okay, I can see that. That's a fine medium. I can see it. That's a fine medium.
so
Yeah,
I can see it. I can definitely see
I
it
can see that. Yeah,
on that other way of it. Um, no,
yeah. But I mean, positivity and negativity, and who inspires me to make the moves that they show me. It's the only person that can do that for me. People who inspire me to follow those moves and follow that intuition and that voice and that feeling. Those are human
yeah,
aspects in the sense of my parents or my friends. How we do the collaborations of PrimeTime Nino, because it's like people who motivate us to motivate ourselves. People out of their
yeah,
actions, and it's not by mistake that we bumped into him. It's not by mistake that things work out when we work with him. You know, it's not by mistake that this is we've been working our hardest on Rated F, and it's beginning
yeah,
to grow. It's because we do the things and we follow those positive and negative notions and be like, I don't think that's a good idea. We could find a different place. I've heard this.
yeah,
This feels right. You know, and don't worry about why. Don't ask the question why. Why does it feel right? Why does it feel wrong? Feels wrong, just turn the other way. Whatever feels right,
yeah.
keep walking down
And
that
I
path.
think I definitely have. I've been feeling that more and more with our show, and just in general, and like my decisions, that you almost feel like you start trying to make a decision. It's like that little voice you hear, and you're like, okay, I'm not gonna do it this way. Let me try to go this route with it. Like, how many times,
Yeah.
especially like on my actions, because you know me, I'm hot headed. So a lot of times I want to lead with my emotion and fight somebody or come at somebody, and then I'm like, I've had recently, actually, the couple days ago, I wrote a whole message out ready to go off on somebody that they had sent me a message and I didn't like the way it sounded, and I was ready to bite heads. And I wrote out a whole it was probably like this thick, if not bigger, and I just deleted the whole thing because then
Right.
I just like I heard like you shouldn't do that. Like, what benefit is
Yeah.
what's the benefit
What
of
is the
going
payoff?
off like this? Like, is it gonna solve it? And I was like,
Yeah.
don't.
Yeah.
Yeah,
If anything, it'll make it worse.
especially if that other person is as hot headed as me, and then I'm here, and then they're trying to go here, and then so they're here, so I'm gonna go higher, and then it's a constant cause and
Yeah.
effect motion. So, um, obviously,
Mm-hmm. It's a
yeah,
real new
it
way of smoke.
honestly, and then I
Yeah.
ironically is that someone who's helped inspire me to kind of get more into the positive is my wife, because obviously she's gotten me more closer, with our religion and stuff like that, and taking
Yeah.
me to church and taking me, and even if we can't go to church, watching it on YouTube, because
Yeah.
uh our church that we've been going to has YouTube services like they posted, so we'll watch it live while they're going on. And
Oh, cool.
uh I think she's definitely inspired me to make more positive moves to um help me out. And I think
Yeah.
that's the person who um she always constantly is in my ear, like, hey, what, should we be doing this? Heck, even if it's down to my diet, because it's
Yeah.
today I got home from work and I was starving again. I've been working out more, so I feel like even though I've been eating, it's like it's not enough. So sometimes, like, I just want a snack, and she'll see me grab something that's not healthy, and she'll be like, "Put that back, put that down. You should not be eating that. You shouldn't be eating that." Especially if she knows, like, because she makes my lunches most of the time. So she'll pack my lunch. And she's
Mm.
like, you had French fries for lunch and bread. Like, you shouldn't even be anywhere near like chips right now. I'm like,
Yeah.
but
Why are you carving up for dinner? Like, you don't need any energy to
exactly,
sleep. Like, why are you carving up for dinner?
yeah.
I love that. I love seeing that. Be like, bunch of carbs on the middle. Like, I guess we're
Yo,
doing some
seriously, I
work
guess we're
after
gonna have to
dinner.
go for another
Because.
walk. But yeah, and if
Love
anybody
that,
who's
man.
heard this episode today, if you
I am
guys, I
glad.
want to hear what you guys say. Drop your comments,
Mm-hmm.
and let us know how you guys feel,
Mm-hmm.
as far as who inspires you or what inspires
Yeah.
you, or an idea, anything that matches as far as inspiration, or if you didn't like or liked what we said today, guys, again, just drop it in the comments. As for our audio listeners as well.
Right. We we take all comers. We
Yeah.
take all
All
comers.
right, guys. So we're gonna go ahead and sign up for the day, guys. Thank you, guys, everyone who's tuned in. Again, if you haven't already done so, make sure you go ahead and like and subscribe to our channel. Like the video, subscribe to this channel. We're coming up to 100, and we're working on some things in the background. If we hit to the 100, maybe we do some things for you guys.
Yes.
But we got to get us there. We're only 4 subscribers away. As of us recording this video, if things change, obviously we'll update you guys as we go. And then also,
Yes.
guys,
Yes.
our
Yes.
listeners, again, drop us a rating of at least 5 stars. I know you hear us say it every week, so I do want to make sure that you're in it. But if we haven't seen an increase on our ratings, it's because you haven't done it. So, guys, please just give us a little.
Yeah.
Just go ahead and let us know. If you like the show or not. It helps us out, because if you don't like it, then we can figure out why. But all right, man. Robbie, anything else you got for us today?
No, dude, I'm doing great, and I like the episode.
man.
This was awesome. Awesome
All
conversation.
right, guys. Well, we'll talk to you guys next week.
Peace.
Y yo no vuelvo de parar. Yo no juego con bandolero, porque yo sé que voy a ganar. Yo sé que voy a ganar. A la acción mía voy a pichar. Y yo no voy por parar. Yo no juego con bandolero.